Hello guys, you are all welcome back to my YouTube channel and another online tutorial. If you are new to this channel and you are yet to subscribe, please kindly do so by clicking on the subscribe button. And if you have done so, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the likes, the comments, the shares, and for always watching our videos. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to make a round pleated turban cap which has a round pleated frame and a side ruffles design attached to it. In today's tutorial, the materials used include your scuba fabric, your satin fabric, your scissors, your measuring tape, your applique for embellishment, your candle gum and glue gun, as well as your needle and thread. So having known all that, let's get started with it. This design which we are working on has about three or four different parts. First, we have the turban cap, which is the base, and the kind of turban cap we're going to be working with is the round pleated turban cap. Secondly, there is the pleated frame, the round pleated frame, which is going to also have the handle at the back for tying. And then lastly, we're going to be having the ruffles design, which is going to be attached to the pleated frame, and then you can try to embellish as you desire. I have all my fabrics here and they have all been cut out before now. So I'm going to get each piece of fabric and I'll be stating out the measurements that is required. First, starting with the turban base, which I said is going to be pleated. For the turban base, the measurement for the fabric to be used is 23 inches for the head circumference by 22 inches for the length. So I have the fabric for my turban base here. The head circumference, which is the length, is 23 inches and the width is 22 inches. Now this varies and depends on the number of pleats you want to form. If you would want more pleats, you would have to increase the measurement for the width, and then that is that. Now coming over to the fabric needed for the round pleated frame, this also varies depending on how high you want your pleated frame to be. But right here I have 26 by 24 inches. So the length, which is the head circumference, is 24 inches and the width is 26 inches. So 24 by 26 inches. And then lastly, coming over to the fabric before the fabric for the ruffles, the handle that is needed at the back of the pleated frame for tying. We'll be needing two different pieces of fabric, and the measurement for each piece of fabric is 5 inches by 10 inches. So the width is 5 inches and the length is 10 inches. Two different pieces of fabric, and that is what I have here. And then the fabric for the ruffles design is a very long piece of fabric. I have 60 inches by 9 inches. So 60 by 9 inches. That is what I have here. However, you can also decide to increase it, probably make use of 72 inches, which is 2 yards, 90 inches, depending on how full you want it to be. So this is it for that. So this is 9 by 60 inches. Having known all that, we're going to go into the tutorial proper. So we're going to be starting with the turban cap. I'm going to get my fabric for my turban cap, which is my turban base, and then I'm going to start by folding in one end about 1 inch in. Okay, I'll be folding it down this way, and then I can get my pins to help me hold it in place, or better still, I'll just get this down on my sewing machine and then make a straight stitch down to the end. Now as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to continue again. I'll make another pleat on it this way. I'll pleat my fabric again, and then as you can see, I've made a second pleat on it. and then I'll get this on my sewing machine and sew on it again for the second pleat. Now if I so desire, I want to make a third pleat, I'll also pleat my fabric this way, and then place on my sewing machine and then sew on it again to make the third stitch. So this is how to achieve the pleated base. Now the number of pleats you are going to create on your fabric depends on the width of your fabric. So for me, I'll be creating about 3 to 4 pleats on my fabric, and then this is how to do it. Now I want to emphasize that while stitching on your fabric, each pleat, okay, should hide the thread from the first pleat. Like now, after making my sewing stitch here, you are going to be seeing the thread used in sewing. Then the second pleat coming on the first pleat should be positioned in such a way that the thread from the first stitch will be hidden. Same after that, same also applies to the second stitch. The thread for sewing will be showing at the edge, so the third pleat should also cover it up. It should be hidden inside. The place where the thread is allowed to show is only on the last pleat, okay? The thread is to be shown on the last pleat at the edge. That is the only place where it should be showing. But other pleats before the last pleat should hide the sewing thread. I'm going to stitch now, and when I come back, I'll show us what I'm trying to illustrate so that we can get it better. Okay, right before me on my working surface, I have my piece of fabric, and as you can see, the edge has been pleated and has sewn. Now if you go back, you can see the sewing stitch from the first pleat, which is being hidden by the fabric used for the second pleat. And then you can also see that the sewing stitch for the second stitch is hidden by the fabric for the third pleat. And then the only place where the sewing stitch is showing is on this last pleat here, and that is how it is expected to be. That is how it should be done. Now this is the front view, and then this is the back view of my work. So that is it for the pleats. At this point, we are going to be forming our cap, okay? And to do that, I'm going to be folding my fabric into two, with the fine side inside and the wrong side outside, okay? And then I'm going to be making a curve on my cap. Now you can decide to measure this out, or you can also decide to just follow your initiative and make out your curve on your cap, just like we do for our turban cap. Now to do that, from this end I'm going to measure out 6 inches, and on this end I'm going to measure out 4 inches. Okay, and I'm done with that. I have my 6 inches mark here, and I have my 4 inches mark. So I'm going to get my chalk, and I'm going to make a curve from this point to this point to connect it together before getting my scissors to cut it off. So this is it. I'm going to get my scissors now, and I'm going to be cutting it off. So as soon as that is done, this is what I have. This is how it looks like. Now I'm going to get this on my sewing machine, and I'm going to be stitching from the band down this way and then down to this end. Okay, from the band all through this way down to this very end. And after sewing, I'm going to get back to show us what to do next. Right before me is my cap, and then I've joined everything, okay, starting from the pleats. I've sewn down to this end here, and so I have my cap. Now to conclude this, I'm going to get my thread and my needle, and I'm going to be making a running stitch. Okay, I'm going to be making a running stitch along this edge to form the cap. Now my running stitch is going to be coming immediately after the pleats. So my running stitch will start immediately after the pleat. My pleat ends here, and so begins my running stitch, and I'm going to use my needle and thread to make my running stitch down to this end. So having my needle and thread here, I'm going to start passing in my needle in and out till I get to the end of the fabric. Please always ensure that your thread is doubled so that it can last longer and will not easily get loose. Okay, so having done that, this is the inner part of the cap, and then on turning it inside out, this is the front view of the cap, and then this is the back view of the cap. So this is how to achieve the pleated turban base. Like I said earlier, the number of your pleats at the band of the cap depends on the width of your cap. So if you want more pleats, you may have to increase the width of your cap to give you the desired number of pleats you want on your cap. And so that is it for this. And then at the end of the day, I have my turban cap already sewn, and then this is it. So I'm going to set this aside. Now coming over to the fabric for the pleated frame, the round pleated frame, I have it here, and I'm going to start making my pleats. Okay, and this is, just watch the video to follow whatever I'm going to be doing. So I'll start by folding in my fabric. You can go ahead to measure if that makes it much more easier for you, but I won't be doing that. I'll just be gauging it. So I'll just start making my pleats, folding my fabric, and then take it upwards again this way, in that order. So this is it, and then I'm going to get a piece of fabric, or you can get your clip, either a piece of fabric or your clip, and I'm going to tie this down at the middle to help me hold it in place. And then I'm going to come over to this side and extend the pleats down to the end. And I'm also going to get a different piece of fabric, and I'm going to be tying it down too. So this is going to help me hold it in place until I get to this part. Then I'll repeat the same thing for this other side. And I'll tie this down and get back. So now that that is all done, I'm going to move over to tacking. I've secured the middle, the left and the right side. So I have my needle and thread here. Ensure it is doubled and also knotted at the end. And then I'm going to start tacking from the middle part. So this is it now. And I'm going to start this way. I'm loosening this up a bit, and I'm going to start adjusting it, and then as I adjust my fabric, I'll pass my needle and thread through it. I'll adjust my fabric and then pass my needle and thread through it till I get to the other end. So this is it. My needle and thread has gone, and I'm going to pull it upwards. Then I'm going to go back again. I'll pass my needle and thread back inside. So I want to turn it over to this other side to make it easier for me. so I can now start stacking again. I'll take it in until I get to the other end. Now I'm going to do this one more time. I'll take it all the way in, then secure my thread and cut off the excess thread. So this is it. I'm done tacking this middle part. Now I'm going to extend it and then repeat the same thing for this left side and also repeat the same thing for this right side. So first and foremost, get a needle and thread, and then ensure it is knotted at the end. Then when you come over to this side, you can loosen it and then adjust the pleats to ensure that they are in place. So this is it. Okay, I'm going to start. I'll tack down this end first. So this is it. I'm done tacking this end and this end. I'm going to now go over, extend it again. I'm going to extend it down to this end, and I'm going to tack down this end. So I'll arrange my pleats just as you see me doing. Then I'll get my needle and thread and then tack it through to secure this end. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to come over to this other side. I'll tack down this part here. As soon as I'm done tacking this part, I'm going to extend it, then tack down this end. So I'm going to go off camera in order to minimize the size and the length of the video to do all this. And as I'm done tacking this down, I'll get back for us to continue. So right here I have my pleated frame. Okay, just the same way I tacked down the middle part and this left side, I'm also gonna head to tack down the right part, and then this is how it looks like. So this is it. What we're going to be doing next is that we're going to be adding this down to our turban base. I first have to get the middle of this, so I'll just fold this into two this way and then mark the middle. Just make a mark at the middle down this way, and then I'm going to get my turban cap, which is this. I'm also going to be folding it into two to enable me to locate the middle, and then I'll mark it a bit. So I have it here. To get my pleated frame, I'm going to be placing it down on my turban cap this way. The middle of the pleated frame should align with the middle of the cap, and I'm going to be tacking this down. So I'm going to be placing it round my cap this way and then placing it down this way, and I'm going to be tacking all together. So just as we tacked down the pleated frame earlier, it follows the same procedure, but then this time around we're going to be tacking it down to the turban cap. So I'm going to set this aside and then also get my needle and thread, have it knotted at one end, and we're going to start stacking. So I'm going to pass my needle and thread from inside the cap upwards this way, and then I have my pleated frame down this way. The middle should align together like I earlier said, and I'm going to pass my needle and thread all the way to the uppermost part of my pleated frame this way. So this is it. And then as soon as I get to the top, I'm going to go back again. I want to place it down this way so that it will be easier for me. I'll be passing my needle and thread back again inside the pleated frame all the way down to the turban cap. So as soon as it's out from the pleated frame, I'll take it inside the turban cap again. And then that's that for that. Now to secure this down to this very point, I'm going to get my needle and thread and take it upwards again. And as soon as it gets upwards, I'll bring it down. I'll do this a couple of times, then secure my thread, and you either cut off your thread or then pass it to the next step. So this is it. I've taken it upwards and down, and I've secured that part. Now I'm going to take this upwards. And then it's out, it's inside the pleated frame, about 2 steps. Now I'm going to take it down with my needle and thread inside, okay, about 2 steps from the pleated frame. I'm going to take it down to the next spot where I want to tack, continue tacking to secure it down to the base. And then it's at this point, so I took it down to the next point. You can see the big stitch is hidden inside the pleated frame, and I've passed it through the turban cap. So I'm going to take it upwards again and then stitch it down to like come up to this uppermost part. So I'm passing my needle and thread through the pleated frame this way, and then it's out at the top of the frame. So this is it, and then I'm going to pass my needle and thread back inside a couple of times before moving on to the next point. So I'm taking it upwards again to tack it down. So it's out. So I've secured these 2 points. To continue, I'm going to pass my needle and thread upwards, about 2 pleats upwards, and then move over to the next point this way, and then take it inside the cap just as I did earlier. And then as soon as it's inside, I'm now going to bring it upwards till I get to this uppermost part, just like I did earlier. And then at this point it is out. I'm going to go back to tack it down inside again. And then this is it. So in that order, so the same way I tacked down this part, the same I'm going to tack down until it gets to the end, and the same I'm going to tack this other part until it gets to the end. So I'm going to go off camera to complete this, and as soon as I'm done, I will get back. So this is my work, and I'm done tacking down my pleated frame down to my turban cap. So this is how it looks like. Now coming to the end, you will observe that this end is open. I did not tack it down to the end, and this other end is also open. I did not tack it completely to the end. That is because we are going to be using this allowance left that is left here to attach our handle. So this is how it looks like. Then the back view of it. The next thing we are going to be doing is that we're going to be attaching our handle for tying to our pleated frame. And for our handle, I have 2 pieces of fabric, so I'm going to be using this piece of fabric for illustration. Whatever I do here should be done for the second piece of fabric. So this is it. I'm going to fold my fabric into this way, and along this edge I'm going to be making a slant curve, and I'm going to cut this out. The essence of this is that the more or the smaller the handles is, the more it will stretch while tying it. That's the essence of making this curve at the edge, to make it a bit smaller. And then I'm going to place this on my sewing machine. I'm going to sew from one end down to the other end, and after sewing I'm going to turn my fabric inside out and then get back. Remember to also repeat for the second piece of fabric. At this point I'm done sewing and I have each piece of fabric here, so I'm going to go ahead to turn this inside out and then get back. After turning it inside out, I have it this way. Now I'm going to get my cap and we're going to be adding it to it. So I'll get the first piece, and because of these fraying edges I'll start by folding the edge in, and then I'm going to be passing this inside this way. And I adjust it to set it in place properly. I also repeat the same thing for the other side as well. So then, after doing all this, the next thing I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to get my needle and thread, and I'm going to be tacking this down. So far this is my work, and I'm done attaching my handle for tying. So I'm going to place this on my dummy head to show us how it looks like. So this is the front view of my design. This is how it looks like. This is this side, and then this is the back view. You can see well I have the handle at the back for tying. And so this is my round pleated frame, and then we'll move on to work on the ruffles design that will be attached to it. So then I'm going to set this aside. For the ruffles design, I have my fabric here, and this is 60 by 9 inches. So I'm going to be folding it into two with the wrong side inside. Sorry, I'll be folding it into two with the fine side inside and the wrong side outside. Fine side inside and the wrong side outside. Now I'm going to place on my sewing machine, and I'll sew from one end down to the other end. So I have my fabric all sewn, and this is it here. And what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to go ahead to turn my fabric inside out, and as soon as I'm done I will get back. So this is it. I have it this way. So I'm going to place the sewn part at the middle of my fabric, and then we're also going to be needing another piece of fabric for the inner design. It could be of a matching or contrasting color. It does not really mean, because it's going to be sitting inside the fabric. Now this particular fabric is 2.5 inches by 9 inches. 2.5 inches for the width and then 9 inches for the length. So I'm going to get my safety pin this way, and I'm going to place it at one end of the fabric, and I'm going to close this up. Then we're going to be passing it inside our fabric. So I'm going to get my fabric this way, and I'm going to start passing it in from one end. So as I pass it down this way, I'm going to secure this end by holding it down with my pin, so as to prevent it from going off from this point. So I'm just going to pin this down. This way, and that will help me hold it in place. Then I can go ahead to start passing my safety pin until it comes out from the other end of the fabric. So this is it, and it's out from this other end. I'm going to take off this safety pin, then also get my pin, and I'm going to secure this end again. Then after securing this end, I'm going to go over to my sewing machine to sew down both ends. So I'm going to go over and stitch down this end, then also come again and stitch down this other end to help me secure the fabric together. I'm done stitching down the end, and I have it this way. So what is left for me now is to attach this down to my turban cap, which has my pleated frame, and I have this. So remember, I marked this part earlier, so I know where the middle point is. And my ruffles design, I'm going to start attaching it down, starting from the middle part. I'm going to place it down this way. So I'm going to open it up a bit so that it covers this part, the whole part down. So this is it. I'm starting a bit, that is before the middle point. It goes upwards before the middle point, a bit before the middle point. I'm going to get pins, and I'm going to use pins to help me hold it down. Then as soon as I'm done with that, I'll place it on my dummy head to check out the fitting, if it's okay. And if it's okay, if I'm okay with the fitting, I can go ahead to either glue or tack down my design. So that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to adjust my fabric to ensure that my ruffles design is well placed. So I'll just pin this down a bit. So this is it. So I'm going to get my dummy head and then place on it to show us the outlook. So this is it when placed on my dummy head. As you can see, I have my round pleated frame on one side, and then I have the ruffles design on the other side. So go ahead to check if there is any adjustment to be made. You then take it off your dummy head and then make such adjustments before we finally attach both together. So this is it. So as soon as all adjustment has been made, we now have to either glue down the ruffles or tack down using a needle and thread. I'm going to be gluing down, and I have my candle gum and glue gun here. So I'm going to be applying gum on the pleated frame this way, and then I will place the ruffles down, apply pressure so that it glues down completely. Then coming to the base, I'm also going to be applying gum on the base, and that is on the turban cap, the pleated frame, and also apply pressure so that it glues down. And then that is what I'll be doing. So that is for it for the ruffles. Now coming to embellishment, this is optional, okay? And for me, I have this applique here. What I have to do is to apply gum. I can use either my UAD gum or my candle gum and glue gum. Then place it on the wrong side this way. And as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to go over to glue it down on my turban cap at one end this way for embellishment. And then on my ruffles design, I can decide to add stones, pearls, whatever I want to, or I can also decide to leave it plain this way. So I'm going to go back to complete this, and as soon as I'm done, I'll get back to show us the final outlook. It's my design. I decided to decrease the length of the applique, and I've added it on this side. Then this is it for the ruffles. So I'll place this on my dummy head, and as soon as that is done, this is how I have it to be. So this is the front of the ruffles, the pleated frame, and my applique. This is the side, and then this is this other side. So this is it for our design. Thank you so much for watching, and this is it for this tutorial. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are yet to do so. Do well to like, to share, and to leave a comment in the comment section. If there are any questions or tutorials you would like to upload, don't hesitate to let us know. Kindly follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook and on Instagram as Jenny Concept. Bye.